Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining in and welcome to Edureka Masterclass. So team, in today's session, we'll be looking into the Azure. Now, this course has got some great features. So here in the first module, you will be learning, you'll be having an introduction to Microsoft Azure Solution Architect training and its various services. And we'll learn about the Azure virtual machines and the networking concept, followed by VMSS and the availability zone of Azure. Module 4 is about the app services and its various features. Module 5 is advanced Azure hybrid connectivity and site recovery. And module 6 is about the data storage solution and the decide patterns in Azure. Module 7 is about the Azure Kubernetes service, which is also known as AKS. We have got Azure Active Directory service and the role-based access control. And the module 9 and 10 is about the monitoring and the insight service from Azure. And the module 10 is about the Azure migration. As you can clearly see, the topics are carefully picked and the curriculum is carefully prepared so that you will have a progressive learning journey where you will be learning in a sequential manner, which ensures the topics that you're learning, you are able to follow along with limited background from the cloud computing as well. So here, as I mentioned, so this like Azure it comes under the cloud computing. So let us understand what is this cloud computing. So cloud computing is an on-demand access via internet to the various computing resources. It could be the application, it can be servers, which can be physical servers or the virtual server. It can be the data storage, development tools, networking capabilities, and other things which are hosted at a remote data center, which are managed by a cloud services provider. Now, when I say cloud services provider, there are various providers who provides these resources to us. So one of them is Azure. Apart from Azure, we have got AWS, we've got GCP, we've got Alibaba. So there are various cloud service vendors, that cloud services provider that we have got in the market. So it's a use of remote servers on the internet to store, manage, and process the data rather than using our own personal computer or a local server. So here, when we talk about this cloud computing, there are great benefits that we have got compared to the traditional on-premise IT infrastructure. Here, first and foremost is the lower IT cost. So with the help of this cloud, it will help us to offload some or most of the cost and the effort that is actually spent on purchasing, installation, configuration, and even managing our own on-premise infrastructures. So, which means if you think about from the old time, whenever you wanted to purchase something, you had to create an indent, you had to get a lot of approval, finance team has to approve it. And after its approval, then only you'll be getting that server. After getting the server, you have to spend time in getting the server up and running. You'll have to keep a person to take care of those servers. There's a lot of cost that was involved and it's a time consuming process. Now with this cloud computing, so we can actually make use from the vendors, and with the help of the vendors, we can go ahead and deploy the resources. So it is going to reduce our IT cost, and then it is going to improve the agility and time to value. So with the help of this cloud, the organization, they just can start using start building and using their enterprise application in a matter of minutes, instead of waiting weeks or months for the IT to respond to a specific request, let's say like purchasing or even configuration of the support hardware and install the software. So this would actually enable the users, specifically the developers and the data scientists, to help themselves to software and support the infrastructure. And we can scale more easily and a cost-effective manner. So we talk about the term called elasticity in cloud computing. So here, this cloud computing provides elasticity. So instead of purchasing the excess capacity and wasting the unused resources, what we will do is, in case of a cloud, we can scale the capacity up and down in response to the request that we are getting it for the application. So we can take the advantage of the cloud providers global network as well in order to spread the application closer to the users, that is across the world. And when I say cloud computing, it actually refers to the technology which makes the cloud work. This includes some form of, I would say, virtualized IT infrastructure like the servers, operating system software, networking, and other infrastructure, which is abstracted using this special software so that it can be pooled and divided irrespective of the physical hardware boundary. Okay, to give you an example, I can say that a single hardware server or a data center can be divided into multiple virtual servers. So this virtualization actually helps the cloud providers to provide the maximum use of their data center resources. And that's the reason many organizations or corporations have adopted the cloud delivery model for their on-premise infrastructure so that they can realize the maximum utilization and the cost savings compared to the traditional IT infrastructure. And that's the overall idea about this cloud computing. And when I talk about this cloud computing, so there are like I would say three commonly known cloud service models. So before I move to the next slide, I want to talk about it. So one is known as software as a service. So in case of software as a service, which is also known as SaaS, what happens is here it's a cloud-based software or a cloud application, which is an application software which is hosted in the cloud. And the users will access it with the help of the web browser. Okay, or they can access it with the help of the client, or they can also use an API which integrates with a desktop or a mobile operating system. Now, in most of the cases of the SaaS, that is the software as a service, so what we do is, so the users will generally pay monthly or annual subscription fee, and some companies also offer the pay-as-you-go pricing, and then it will just take care of itself. I mean, like the developer team of the SaaS model is going to take care of the software. You will be responsible as an end user and configure your application and use it as per your requirement. An example can be Gmail. So Gmail is an example of SaaS because you do not create the Gmail. Gmail is created by Google. You'll just log in, you'll create an account and you'll start using it. That is called as a SaaS service. And there is something called as PaaS, which is nothing but the platform as a service, where it provides a software developer with on-demand platform, which has got hardware, complete software stack, infrastructure, and including the development tools as well, which are required for running, developing, and managing the application without any cost. Now with PaaS, the cloud provider is going to host everything, but developers will have to just decide, okay, which one that they want whenever they are building their application as per their requirement. And one such example is Salesforce, is an example of platform as a service. And lastly, there is something called as infrastructure as a service in cloud computing. In case of infrastructure as a service, here, this would provide an on-demand access to the basic computing resources like the compute, like the CPU servers or the storage, database. So all those things, networking, so all those things will be provided by the cloud service provider, and we'll be paying only for the resources that I'll be using on the per usage basis. So that's the overall idea between the cloud models, that is IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. That's the overall idea. Now, here, when we talk about Azure, so Azure is one of the cloud service providers. Okay, also known as Microsoft Azure. Microsoft Azure is a set of cloud services which will help the organization to meet the business challenge. So with this, you'll get a freedom to build, manage, and deploy the application on a massive global network, which has been built by Microsoft. And you can use the favorite tools and the frameworks whenever you are building your own application. So Microsoft Azure supports variety of tools and the frameworks so that you are free to decide how your application would look like. Okay, so that is the overall idea about this Microsoft Azure. And here, when we talk about this Microsoft Azure, okay, So here, when we are working, we will generally working with the Azure portal. So let us understand what exactly is this portal. So when I say Azure portal is a platform where we can access and manage all the applications at a single place. Here, I can build, I can manage, and I can monitor everything. It could be from a simple web page to the complex cloud application using a single console. That is the overall idea about this Azure portal. So in order to access this Azure portal, first thing that you need is you need to register. Now, if you're registering for the first time, you'll get the 12 months of popular free services from the Azure. And depending on the country, you'll also get some free credits as well, which you have to consume it within 30 days. Okay. You can check the Microsoft Azure page for the detailed information. This is the Microsoft Azure page. You can click on the start free, and yeah, you'll get the popular free services for 12 months, and you'll also get $200 Azure credit, which you have to consume it within 30 days. Okay, so ensure that you create an account. Now, in order to create an account, just go ahead and follow the steps. Use your Microsoft account and create the same. Set up your credit card, and once it's done, you'll be able to log in and use the resources from your Azure account. Okay, now let me just show you as how you can go ahead and how does this Azure portal would look like. So to give you an illustration, let me just log into my Azure account. Give me a second, folks. So this is how the page would look like. So once you log into the Microsoft Azure portal, this is how it would look like. Okay, so the website is portal.azure.com. So from here, you can have a quick idea about how you can get started. Okay, now for the demonstration purpose in a hands-on manner, let's see how we can create a storage account. See, in order to create a storage account, under the resources, I'm going to search for storage account. Okay, I'll click on the storage accounts. So currently it is displaying as blank. That means I do not have any storage accounts with me. Now, in order to create a storage account, so I can go ahead and I click on this create button. Now in this page, I can specify the how I have to configure my storage account. So resource group, I'll keep the same value that is present right here. Okay, then first thing that we have to mention is the storage name, that is the storage account name. So I'm going to mention some a dummy value. I'll say my storage account demo 123. So that's the storage name that I'm going to specify. And for the region, okay, so here you can select a region. This region is nothing but the Azure region, which is right for you and our customer. Okay, so for now, I'll keep it as default. Now, depending on the use case, you can select the region. Then for the performance, so here there are two types of performance. So it says determine whether you want to have a premium performance for block blobs. Okay, I'll keep it as standard. That is enough for me. Next, for the redundancy, so we can select the type of redundancy that we want to keep. So I'm going to select the locally redundant storage. That means it's a lowest cost option with basic protection against the server rack and the drive failures. Okay, this is recommended for non-critical scenarios. I'll select the same. Okay, so that's how I'll be specifying the redundancy. Now I'll keep the remaining settings as it is. I'll click on review button. Okay, so I can review everything. I'll do one thing. I click on previous here. Okay, I'm just checking if we have anything. So here, yeah. So here we've got the create button. Ensure that you click on this create button. So here, currently it is saying as initializing deployment, submitting the deployment, and then we'll be able to see that the deployment will be completed. See, currently it is in progress. Let's wait. So this will take some time for the deployment to complete. Okay, we can see that the deployment is complete. I'll click on go to resource. So this will go to the resource that we have just created. That is the my storage account demo. Okay, now from this my storage account demo, so we can then go ahead and create a container. Now what I'll do is I'll just click on this container which is present under the data storage. Okay, now in this page, I'll start by creating a container. Now here for the name, I'm going to mention something like this. I'll say my container 25. I'm just going to give some random name. And for the public access level, I'm going to mention as private because I don't want to be sharing with anyone. I'll click on create now. Okay, so this is going to create a container for me. Now we can view it under the container section. Now we can go ahead and upload any object over here. So for the demonstration purpose, I'll just go ahead and upload an HTML file. Let me just do the same. I'll see if I have got any demo HTML file, which I had created earlier. So for the demonstration purpose, what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and create an simple HTML file. Okay, so here I'll just say HTML. Okay, now under this HTML, I'll just mention as okay, I'll mention as H1. Okay, I'll mention as this is a sample document. Okay, so that's how I've created an HTML file, and this file has got the extension as HTML. Now, if I simply open that file over here in my local system, this is how my sample document would look like. You can clearly see that it's HTML file, which says that this is a sample document. Now I'll go inside the container, which I've just created. That is my container 25. I'll go ahead and upload this file into my container. I'll click on this upload button. Here I've got the option to either drag and drop, or I can just go ahead and upload it by using the upload button. I'll just drag it from my system. So I've dragged and dropped the file that I wanted to upload, and I'll click on this upload button. Okay, so this is going to upload the file in the container. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'll just click on the file that we have just uploaded into our container. Now here we'll get an overview page right now. Okay, I'll click on edit right now. Now once I click on this edit, okay, I'll do some modification. I'm going to say that I'll say H2. Okay, this is a line 2. Okay, I'm going to modify the same. Then I'll click on save it. So what I've done is I've just modified on this file. Now, once I've modified on the file, I'll just close it. Okay, I'll open the file again. Under the URL, okay, there is a URL link over here. Okay, so if I click on this URL and if I just paste it in my browser, currently I'm going to get an error. So we see that error, and the error says we do not have any resource that is present. So the resource not found error is present. The reason because whenever we try to access anything inside, like whenever we try to access any blob that is an object as an anonymous user, by default, the anonymous access is not allowed for the blobs which are present in the container. Now, what I need to do is I need to change the access level for the container. So in order to do the same, I'll go to the containers. I'll click on the overview. Okay, so here under this overview, we have something called as change access level. I'll click on this change access level, and currently it is set as private, no anonymous access. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to, let's say, blob anonymous read access for blobs only. So that is how I'm going to change the access. And once that is done, I'll click on OK. Now, once I have made these changes, okay, if I go back to my browser and refresh the page, see, I'm now able to see the updated blob in the website, in this web page. So what we have done is, in this very simple hands-on demo, I've created a storage account. Then I have created a container. For this container, I have uploaded a demo file from my local system, and I've modified that demo file in my Azure container. And then I have actually tried to access this blob by simply accessing the URL, and have validated that currently it is not allowing the anonymous user accessing. Then I went ahead and modified the permission, that is the access control at the container level. Now, once I modified it, so I was able to view that blob without any issues. So as you can clearly see, working with Microsoft Azure is very easy. It's just a matter of performing the actions in a sequential way so that you understand how you can implement the similar logic when you're doing the same for your clients and the customers. So with this, we come to the end of today's session on Microsoft Azure and how we can use any services and how easy it is to access the Microsoft Azure and access the resources under the same. And I hope to see you next time. Take care, everyone.